All right, welcome in everybody. We got One Piece, chapter 1119, full spoilers. My name is Sai, and today we are here to talk about the key points of the chapter and just have a little conversation. So with that being said, let's get right to it. So, the first thing I want to talk about this week is, of course, the beginning of this chapter, because it revolves around CP0 and what their next move is. So, last we left off, we saw that Stussy wanted to release Kaku from his bubble, and she was kind of asking Edison for permission. Edison said, hey, Stussy, you do you, you already helped us out enough. If you feel like they're your friends, then go for it. So at the beginning of this chapter, that is exactly what we get. We get Stussy releasing Kaku, and Kaku, kind of like a tsundere. In typical anime fashion, he's like, oh, Stussy, don't get it twisted. We're not actually friends. And while he's saying that, he's like holding back tears on the inside, and he's also like looking out for her too. Kaku's like, hey, Stussy, now that you've let me go, you should get out of here before Rob Lucci gets back here. He's like looking out for her in a way, and I think it's pretty wholesome. But now it does make me wonder, what the hell is going to happen to Stussy, right? Because obviously she can't stay here. Maybe there is a reality where Rob Lucci shows back up and he doesn't kill Stussy, but that's very 50-50, right? Because Stussy bit Rob Lucci finger gunned her, so maybe they're even now. But even if they are cool, Stussy can't go back home to Rijois. She can't rejoin CP0. The Gorosei are not gonna have it. She helped assist the Straw Hats. She helped the Vegapunks. So I highly doubt she's gonna have a home over there anymore. So now for me, that kind of begs the question of, where is she going to go? Will she leave with the Straw Hats? Will she try to catch up with the giant ship? Or is she going to go in opposite direction? Or will she try to die on this island? I don't really know. Personally, I've always thought that she would make a great fit with the Neo Mads, right? Because we have Caesar and Judge coming together after, 20 or 40 years, however long it's been. So I think it would be pretty cool if Stussy joined up with them, right? Because the original Miss Bocking was a part of that crew at one point. So Stussy, being the next generation of her, would make a pretty good fit over there. And not to mention, last we saw Judge and Caesar, when they created Neomads, they joined hands, and they were also thinking of Vegapunk while that was happening. So I was always of the mindset that they were on their way here to Egghead Island, and now that the broadcast is going down, I wouldn't be surprised if they want to see what the hell happened here, right? Because Vegapunk is one of their friends in a way. It's kind of like Kaku and Stussy's relationship, right? They hate each other, but at the end of the day, they're still old Nakama. So I wouldn't be surprised if, Caesar and Judge are nearby and Stussy, using her bat wings, flies away and she lands on their ship. Or who knows, maybe we'll get like a Stussy cover page story adventure. Kind of like how I have Yamato's adventure right now in the cover page stories. Maybe we'll get a Stussy version. I don't know. Either way, though, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. What do you think is going to happen to Stussy, Kaku, and Lucci? So now, on to the next key part of the chapter. We have Luffy, Sajji, Frankie, and Bonnie using a combination attack to take down Marcus Mars. Well, okay, not take him down, but to send him flying away. So Mars shoots Luffy with a blast breath, or like his bolo breath attack. Luffy ends up blocking it. He grabs onto Mars, and then he asks Sanji, Frankie, and Bonnie to attack him so that he can redirect all of their power onto Marcus Mars in one giant blow. And that is exactly what happens. Sanji uses Ifrit Jambe Hell's Memories, Frankie uses a upgraded version of Strong Right called Strong Impact Right, and then Bonnie uses an extra large Nika Punch. And a couple of cool things here, but I don't think we've seen Sanji use Hell Memories in his Ifrit Jambe. Like I said, Frankie, brand new attack right here in general. And as far as Bonnie goes, I feel like that's a key example of her not knowing how to use the Sun God Nika powers that well yet. Of course, Luffy always does use a, extra large Nika punch whenever he's finishing a fight, but, Bonnie isn't exactly flexing that Sun God Nika creativity just yet. This shows us that Bonnie does have a lot of room to grow in terms of the imagination aspect of the Nika powers. But yeah, they all attack Luffy, and it turns out somebody, or even multiple people, use Haki in their attacks, and Luffy says, wow, like, you jerks, that kind of hurts, man. If I had to put my money on who was using the most Haki here, I'd put my money on Sanji, hands down. I mean, during the fight against Queen, Sanji said, hey, like, Ifrit Jambe is a combination of armament, genetics, and something else, it was like, okay, Sanji using the most Haki here, it makes the most sense. Outside of Sanji, I would probably give it to Bonnie. We know she has armament haki, but we've just never seen it. But she is in Gear 5th right now. She is supposed to be using her strongest attack against Luffy, which should be hitting Mars. So I could see her flexing some haki right here as well. As far as Frankie goes, I feel like it would make a lot of sense if he did have armament haki, but we've never seen it, and it's never been confirmed either. And as far as some of the Straw Hats go, I've always found it blasphemous that they don't have basic armament or basic observation, but in a weird way, I kind of like it. You know, Oda's showing that these characters, like Frankie, for example, is bridging the haki gap with his own unique fighting style, right? Like, oh, like Frankie doesn't need haki because his technology is just that absurd. So I wouldn't mind if that's the case either, but yeah, either way, like Luffy doesn't really distinguish who used the most haki, but it's pretty cool that they're doing it, right? Like, I love that Luffy is acknowledging that their attacks actually do hurt a good amount, even in Gear 5th. So yeah, they all attack Luffy. Luffy uses their attacks, combines it, and sends Marcus Mars away like Team Rocket, which is pretty funny. You know, like, hey, we can't beat this guy, so let's just send him to Kingdom Come. Like, let's send him to the very next island. I wouldn't be surprised if Mars does come back. I mean, he's the one Gorosei that can fly, to our knowledge. So I feel like if there were to be somebody who chases us, it would be him. Outside of him, though, of course, we talked about it last week, but Jupiter could also suck the ship back, which is exactly what happens here. But while Jupiter's trying to suck the ship back, Luffy just attacks him and pretty much ends those shenanigans immediately. So, you know, rest in peace, Jupiter. But before Jupiter gets walloped by Luffy, he does release the Cypher Pole agents and Seraphim onto the marine battleships. And I feel like that's a fumble. I feel like this right here is going to be a massive fumble on his part. And that's simply because he doesn't know that the Cypher Pole agents are friends of Luffy. The Seraphim, it's kind of 50-50, right? Can Bonnie control them? Can Bonnie not control them? Can the Gorosei even give them an order right now? We're not exactly sure. But as far as the Cypher Pole agents go, we have to remember that Luffy saved them from York. The Cypher Pole agents were trapped in the old Devil Fruit laboratory for months and months without any real food. The Straw Hats came in, gave them food. These guys were crying, thanking Luffy, you know, saying they really owe them their lives. And it's like, okay, if the Gorosei orders Cypher Pole to capture the Straw Hats or to kill them or to chase them down, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cypher Pole agents turn a blind eye. I feel like this is going to be a major misstep. And you could say that, oh, like, no, they're loyal to the Gorosei, they're loyal to the world government, they're not going to do that. But if that's the case, then what value does the Cypher Pole agents actually add here? We've seen Marines get blasted into oblivion. We've seen the Vice Admirals do absolutely nothing. The Gorosei are struggling with Luffy. So what would Cypher Pole agents actually add here outside of assisting the Straw Hats and repaying their debt? So yeah, in my opinion, I am like pretty heavy on the side that the Cypher Pole agents will be on Team Straw Hat at the end of the day. As far as the Seraphim goes, like I said, it's 50-50 on them. I think they do add a pretty good dynamic. You know, the Gorosei need all the help they can get, so I kind of want the Seraphim to be on their side. And of course, you know, with how hard the anime has been going in on these Seraphims, I kind of want them to do some action just so we could see them again, you know? But yeah, either way though, like I said, I think this will end up being a fumble on Jupiter's part, but that has yet to be seen. Outside of that, though, you know, the last part of the chapter that is absolutely insane is Emeth, the ancient giant robot rising out of the water and attacking Warkity. And here's the thing, you know, some people are saying the robot's not a fighter. You know, the guy's just a walking giant toy. But here's the thing, the robot comes in with the force, right? You gotta keep in mind, Luffy used Red Rock on Warkity, didn't work. Luffy's hand ended up hurting. Luffy attacked Warkity in Gear 5th afterwards. Luffy's hand still hurts. You know, like Luffy cannot damage this guy. But the giant comes in and he attacks Warkity, and not only is the attack effective and the robot's hand isn't hurting, but the robot manages to break his teeth. Is it his teeth? His tusk? Whatever it is. He breaks his teeth. You know, like, it's actually insane how strong this robot is. And I would say this is a major Void Century flex, which every character from the Void Century has been pretty crazy. Well, granted, we only have 2 characters, but Zunisha over here one-shotting Jack the Drought and his entire fleet. And now we have Emeth, the ancient giant robot, over here knocking Wakari back, you know? Like, these Joyboy Nakama are no joke. And if this is how strong the Nakama are, imagine how strong Joyboy is, you know? Like, when you really think about it, right? Zunisha is like Joyboy's version of Chopper. The ancient robot is probably Joyboy's version of Frankie. Brother, you know the distance between Chopper and Frankie against Luffy? Oh my god, you know, like, I'm excited to see Joyboy. I want to see the rest of Joyboy's Nakama, man. Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, too, about Emeth. First off, really cool name. Thank you guys for leaving all the comments about, like, the breakdown of his name, the media references as well. I think it's awesome. But one thing as well to keep in mind is that Emeth is from the Ancient Kingdom. He is made with their technology. This is the first official name we have from that kingdom, and we know that almost every island in One Piece that follows a thematic also follows the same naming thematic as well. Just like how in Wano, everyone had Japanese names. Dressrosa, everybody just so happened to have Spanish names, you know? So having the name Emeth is not only great because we can break it down and, you know, correlate to the ancient giant robot, but we can also start determining what the names of the other people from the ancient kingdom might be. So I think that is pretty huge. Like, oh yeah, another one is Elbaf, for example, right? All the Elbaf names are Norse. So it's like, yo, here we go. You know, like, Emeth is a massive, massive reveal, and I am super excited, man. I'm excited to see what this ancient robot will do. And, you know, I will say this. I don't know yet if the robot will sacrifice himself here for the Straw Hats, or if he's going to follow us to Elbaf. Because initially, I was of the mindset that we need to leave the robot behind so that he can take on all 5 Gorosei. But right now, when you really conceptualize it, right? Jupiter being attacked by Luffy, I don't think he stands a chance. Mars was sent flying away. Venus is fighting Zoro and Jinbei, and then Saturn is, you know, bumbling around in the clouds with Nami's group. So as it stands right now, like, we could honestly leave with the robot. Like, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this one as well. I could see it going either way. But yeah, now that the robot is back up and operating, the Vegapunk message is also coming around too. The Dendenmushi wakes up with the robot, and we get the butt end of the Will of D segment. And Vegapunk says, the thing that was inherited can be called a will. I hope this message will reach those who are swayed by the cause. And this is something we already knew, right? We knew wills were passed down, but we still don't know what the wills truly mean yet. So the fact that we missed out on the middle portion of this message is pretty massive. And not to mention, Vegapunk also name dropped somebody specifically, and we don't know who that is. So there's still a lot of missing pieces here. But I feel like when we get this reveal, it will be really big, right? Because as it stands right now, it seems pretty obvious. Like, oh, you have the Will of D, you have a will from 900 years ago. Like, we already knew that. So I feel like there's going to be something more to this message that will shock us, the fan base. You know, last thing I want to talk on is the fact that we get reaction piece yet again. We see Katakuri, Brownie, Zukoto, great character as well. And we also see Vivi and Morgans, and that's cool, you know. We haven't seen Katakuri in a minute. Last we saw, he was being gassed up by Caesar. Looks like he's totally fine now. Kind of wish we got to see Big Mom, but, you know, like, seeing Katakuri is good enough, another interesting addition to Reaction Piece, though, is that we get characters who aren't even reacting to the message. That is how far we have gone into Reaction Piece, because we see Gaimon and Sarfunkel. Sarfunkel is his girlfriend, girl in a barrel person, whatever. But they don't even have a Dendenmushi. They don't even know that this message is going on, yet we're seeing them. That is so funny. I feel like it's such a troll moment from Oda, and I can't help but respect it. And of course, a lot of people wanted to see Gaimon, Sarfunkel. It's been, I think, 17 years. Yeah, no, has it been 17 years since we got Sarfunkel? I don't remember, but it's been a long time. You know, Gaimon himself, you know, 20 plus years, but Sarfunkel, you know, like, I don't even remember anymore, man. It's like a distant memory. But yeah, overall though, this is another great chapter in my book. You know, we got a combination attack. We got Joyboy. We got Joyboy's voice, Emeth, the robot. Like, there's just so much to love here. The one thing I will say, though, is that this is another short chapter. It's only 13 pages, just like last week and the week previously, before the last one, you know, I don't even know how to describe it. I think it was like 115. It had 13 pages as well. So it looks like Oda is starting to shorten up these chapters a lot. And I personally don't mind it. You know, of course, it sucks. You know, we all want a 17-page plus chapter, but at the end of the day, like, we're getting 3 chapters back to back to back, and that's all we can really ask for, right? You know, Oda's notorious for taking breaks every so often, so seeing him drop these chapters in shorter segments but more consistently, I think is a big win. Hopefully Oda's health is doing good. Hopefully this isn't you know, indicative of something bad. But yeah, with that being said, let me know what you guys think about this chapter down below. I would really love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about the Haki talk? What do you think about Mars, the Gorosei, the robot, CP0? I would love to hear any and all your thoughts down below. And tomorrow or the next day, I will be making that comment video, just kind of going over what you guys have to say. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. My name is Sai, and I'm signing out. Peace.